Welcome and let your journey to soul expansion begin. I'm your host, Kristen Kaczynski. This show will take you on a journey of expansion, encouraging you to release the limitations of your mind and lean into the wisdom of your soul. Remembering who you are on a soul level will help you release your conditioning, expectations, limiting beliefs, fears, and worries, and evoke a life expanded by your energetic alignment. Whether you're an entrepreneur who wants to grow your income and impact, or someone who knows in your heart of hearts that you're made for more, this podcast will help you awaken the power that's already inside of you, allowing you to attract an easy flow of money, clients, opportunities, and fulfillment. In each episode, you'll learn something new, expand your consciousness, and you'll walk away with a glimpse of what's truly possible for you. If you're ready to follow your soul's calling and live a more expansive life, you're in the right place. Welcome, and let your journey to soul expansion begin. Welcome back to the Soul Expansion Podcast Impact Series. If you haven't listened to the other episodes in this series, make sure you go download those and hit subscribe while you're at it. I'm dropping a lot of wisdom about expanding from the baby CEO role where you're just starting to branch out into hiring a team member or two and, thinking more about the long term, into really expanding into this like long term, like embodied leader, true CEO, true visionary. Someone that's here to stay, someone whose business is, focused on the bigger vision and the bigger mission, and thinking about, all of these like higher level CEO concepts that maybe you haven't necessarily been exposed to with some of the education in the online space. I know for me, when I first joined the online space, it seemed like everything was geared toward brand new entrepreneurs, and there wasn't a whole lot for more seasoned entrepreneurs. And because everything was geared toward brand new entrepreneurs, it was all about like the revenue chase. It was all about like, how can you make as much money as quickly as possible with almost no emphasis on the long-term planning of your business. And so I see that as like a real gap in the industry, at least in terms of like the public education that people are offering, like the free stuff, like the Soul Expansion Podcast, like we're offering now. I don't see a ton of education out there for people that are, at the multi-5-figure and definitely like the 6-figure, early multi-6-figure stage where you're wanting to expand into something that's going to be a lot more, that's going to have a lot more impact, something a lot bigger, right? So that's the gap I saw when I decided to create this series, and I wanted to do it for free because I wanted to fill the gap, to be honest. But obviously some of this is, a lot easier to implement when you have support. So we are enrolling for Expansion Mastermind. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it. If it's something you're interested in, spots are extremely limited. And this mastermind is designed to help you go from, multi-5 figures or 6 figures to multi-6 figures and even 7 figures, right? So we are putting some of those longer term pieces in place. We are focusing on the things that are less sexy, but so important as you expand into a bigger vision, right? And I don't see a lot of masterminds focusing on these elements of building a long-lasting business. And then we, of course, always take it from the lens of soul first, right? So we always, even though we're talking about some of the more strategic elements on the podcast as part of this impact series, it's always coming from alignment when you're in Expansion Mastermind, right? Like it's always coming from what feels good to you. It's always coming from what is your soul calling you to do. It's always coming from what are you energetically wanting to experience in life and business, and what are your deeper desires, right? We do use co-creation. We do use manifestation. We do use the deeper healing. And a lot of the focus is placed on that. Because, I can actually share a lot of the strategic things right here on the podcast, right? It's not that the strategic things are all that complicated. It's not that, it requires someone who has an MBA to figure out. It requires some guidance. Yeah, totally. Like it requires some deeper thought. It requires some critical thinking and some, long-term planning for sure. But I find when we really focus on the energetics and the healing, in addition to, putting these strategic things in place, we actually get there a lot faster, right? So if we just focus on the strategy, then we can get to this place where we've built this business that we don't even love. It doesn't work for our lifestyle. It doesn't work for our desires. It's, maybe costing more in terms of expenses than we want it to, because we focus too much on like the strategy and the structures. So we find that healthy balance, and we always come from soul first, from what your heart is calling you to do. And in my experience, I do find that it actually helps us grow a lot faster. In the beginning, it feels like you're kind of like slowing down, but you're actually slowing down to speed up, right? So that is kind of like the ethos behind what we do in Expansion Mastermind. And if it feels like a container you want to be a part of, because you want like the bigger business, like longer term vision, strategic support and structural implementation support. But more than that, you want to make sure that you're building something that you really stand behind and your heart and soul feel like really aligned with. And then also wanting to collapse time and grow your income even before the structures are in place, right? Like I'm all about, let's increase your cash flow now. Let's increase your profitability now, even though, this long-term vision thing that you're putting in place now won't necessarily pay off. So we do that work too, right? We do the both and. We plan for the long term, and we get the growth in your income through the power of co-creation, through the power of manifestation. So it's really a unique mastermind. I don't see a lot of people doing this type of work, and that's why I created it, right? I really saw the gap here. So let's talk about what we're talking about today, which is expanding client retention. Whew, I love this. I love this so much because I noticed a big, massive shift in my client retention from year 1 in my business to years 2 and 3, right? So year 1 in my business, client retention sucked. I'm not going to lie. I think I had 1 or 2 people who would like resign, but the retention was just not there. And part of the reason why the retention was just not there was because my heart was not in my business. For real. Like my heart was not in my business. I was focused on money. And it sounds crazy, but when you're able to actually expand beyond the money and you can see like the bigger picture and you can see like your bigger purpose in your business, then it's like you actually are able to make more money because people really feel that your heart is in your business. People really stand behind the things that you stand behind. People understand what your values are and what your purpose is, and they want to be a part of that, right? There's this desire to be a part of something bigger that just naturally, organically unfolds when we build a heart-centered business. And so the number one way, we're going to jump right in. The number one way to increase your client retention is to make sure you're coming from your heart, is to make sure that your business is truly aligned with your soul and your bigger purpose and what you were put on this earth to do. Because that can be felt, right? Like that doesn't require marketing language for people to understand. People just feel that. They know that. It's in integrity. They can feel that it's in integrity. And the first year in my business, I wasn't in integrity with my heart. I really was not. And I'm not afraid to admit that. And so my client retention definitely sucked. But as I started to shift and I started to really pay attention to, okay, what's my bigger purpose? What am I here to do? How can I bring my heart into my business a lot more? Then it's amazing. The client retention just happened naturally. It happened organically. And it was so much better. Like it went from like, let's say like 1% or even like 5% client retention to now it's like 80 to 90% of my clients sign up for more than one contract. And I would say like with the membership, it's been pretty cool because people sign up for this $111 membership that I have, mysoulexpansion.com, if you want to check it out. It's really awesome. I love this membership. So if you're not ready for Expansion Mastermind, at least join the membership. But what's amazing about the membership is I've seen so many people join the membership for a couple months and then they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for Expansion Mastermind, or I'm ready for one-on-one coaching even. And it's a big jump in investment, but it's been really cool to see because people they get a taste of me. They get a taste of my facilitation. They get a taste of the deeper work. They get a taste of what we do here at Team Kristen, and they want to be a part of it in a bigger way. And so my next tip for client retention, besides getting your heart into it, is make sure you have a way for people to sample you, right? And I see the membership as well as some of my passive course offerings, which you can access at KristenKaczynski.com/courses. We have, a couple of virtual retreats, and we have Vixen on there. We have some courses that you can access and purchase at any point in time. So if anything I'm ever offering, you're like, I don't know if that's for me, always go to the website and see what we have available, because there might just be something that we're kind of like talking about on the podcast that is a better fit for you and where you're at, the investment level you want, the commitment level you want. So we do have those courses available as well. So, having some sort of way for people to sample you, for people to try you out at a lower cost price point, for people to experience your magic and to really see, hear, and feel that you are in integrity with what you're saying in your marketing, right? When they really start to experience that, then they just naturally want to stick around because they can feel it, right? They can feel that you care. They can feel that your heart's in your business. They can feel that you're offering something that is actually going to help them, right? And they start to experience those changes. So I would definitely make sure you have something lower cost in your offer suite, even if you do mostly high ticket, because it gives people that way to try you out and that way to experience your magic without investing all the monies. Okay. My next tip for expanding your client retention is offer ways for people to upgrade and downgrade, right? So what's cool about the membership, I've already mentioned it, mysoulexpansion.com if you want to check it out. What's cool about this membership is I've had people both upgrade and downgrade because it's a high quality membership. It's not something I slap together every month. It's something I actually, really make sure that the healings in it are really high quality and they actually help people transform, even though it's $111 per month. But what's amazing is people will join it to try me out and then they'll upgrade into my multi-5-figure mastermind, or the reverse will happen. They'll join the mastermind, they'll fall in love with the healings in the membership, and at the end of our contract, if they don't want like a higher ticket investment, or if they don't want to stick around for more high touch support, they might still love the healings and downgrade into the membership. So have a way for people to both upgrade and downgrade in your product suite. That's going to naturally increase retention, because then it's like they get to choose their own adventure with you, right? If they want to stay in your energy, but they don't want to shell out thousands every month, they have that option. So that's something that we found to be really effective when it comes to expanding client retention. And then the final thing I'll say about expanding client retention is, do the basic bitch stuff that most people don't think about that really makes a huge difference on the customer side, right? So we send out calendar invites to our high touch clients. Actually, I think to our membership clients, they also get a way to add calendar invites, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we try to make it as easy as possible to engage with us. We send out calendar invites. We send out email reminders before calls. We make it as easy as possible for our clients to be in the program. We want to take away any friction. We want to take away any barriers to, getting the transformation that they want. So do those things on the back end, even though they seem like they don't matter. I truly believe that they do make a difference, because if people aren't showing up for their calls because they keep forgetting when their calls are, then they're not able to experience the transformation that's going to lead them to want to stick around and hire you again, right? Or if people are, always wondering like when their calls are, or they're always wondering how they can get in touch with you and it seems like you're not available, it just creates more friction. It creates more reasons why people might not want to stick around. And this is something I just kind of like naturally chose to do based on the type of service I expect, because I consider myself a luxury consumer. And so I really wanted to create a luxury consumer process for my consumers. So this just kind of like naturally and organically unfolded based on like my own preferences. But it's one of those things where I don't think a lot of online coaches or educators, pay attention to these like little details that actually make a world of difference, right? I am fortunate enough to have stayed at, 5-star hotels, for example. And it's the littlest things that like blow your fucking mind at a 5-star hotel, right? Like I remember before our wedding, we got to stay in this hotel suite at the St. Regis in Deer Valley. It was amazing. And I'm like, okay, we're always going to stay at a hotel this nice. which, we have and we haven't. We've done both. But you truly do notice the difference when you stay at a 5-star hotel. And this might be like a 4 or 5-star hotel. I don't know if it's truly a 5-star hotel, but it's a St. Regis. And a St. Regis hotel, in general is a high caliber brand. It's a very elegant hotel. I think every St. Regis, they have like butler service per room, right? And we were in a suite, so we had like top tier butler service, and we were getting married there, so we had even more like butler attention, I guess you could say. But I just remember it was amazing. It was like, they picked up on the first ring. They were available, right? They brought me anything I asked for. I think I asked for, a random toiletry or something, and they brought it within like 30 minutes. I think I called at like 11 p.m. and they brought me some chamomile tea before the wedding. They even had like packing and unpacking service, right? Like, how annoying is it to pack and unpack your clothing? We ended up not being able to take advantage of that because, we were like barely awake to get to our flight for our honeymoon because we stayed up super late partying, of course, on our wedding night. But it was those little details and like even just the option of having it there that really made the difference and made it stand out as a luxury experience and made me want to stay there again. Contrast that with like, some of the crappy hotels I stayed at when we were road tripping from New York to Texas, where, it just like wasn't as clean, and like there wasn't like, they didn't even have like a little gift shop where you could get like water or something. There was like no service really, like no one really cared that you were there basically, right? So the difference is you just care that your clients are there. You just go the extra mile. You do the things that they wouldn't even think about. And they can be tiny things like calendar reminders, right? Or email reminders like, hey, here's your Zoom link. It can be like little tiny things that cost you nothing or cost like your virtual assistant very little time, but make all the difference on the client side. That is one of those like small details, I think, that really leads to client retention. When there's less friction, people are more likely to want to come back. When there's less friction, people are more likely to want to stick around. So that's what I have for you on client retention. Next, in this Impact series, we're going to talk about outsourcing and teams. And then we're going to talk about navigating conflict. And then we're going to talk about holding yourself in seasons of contraction and expansion. And then we're going to talk about the energetics of an expansion. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Make sure you hit subscribe. And if you are interested in joining Expansion Mastermind, head to KristenKaczynski.com/expansion. Submit your application. Spots are extremely limited. They're already filling up at the time that I'm recording this. So get in there, get your application in. Let's have a chat in the DMs on Instagram. We can chat in voice notes, make sure it's a good fit. And yeah, let's get you signed up if you're feeling called to join us. All right. I will talk to you in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day. Love you. Expansion Mastermind is my favorite container ever. It is my favorite container to facilitate. I absolutely love the transformations that the women inside experience. It is one of my most transformational containers other than one-on-one coaching. And it is a container in which you get one-on-one access to me. You get monthly one-on-one calls, direct access to me in a messenger app called Voxer. In case you can't tell, I do love the deeper inner work, and I do love being able to help women shift from doing to receive, or like the hustle mentality in business, to receiving just to receive just because you exist, receiving just because you're worthy of receiving money from your energy and not from, the exhausting launch strategies or whatever other bullshit you've been putting yourself through to build your business. So to answer your questions, yes, it's 100% possible to manifest clients and money in business. Yes, it's 100% possible for this to be your main strategy when it comes to growing your income. And yes, your life will change if you're willing to do the deeper inner work that we do in Expansion Mastermind to be able to embody and stabilize this and make it more consistent for you. So this mastermind is high touch. It's capped at 10 women. At the time I'm recording this, I don't know how many spots will be available because we are doing a pre-sale for this launch. But right now there is at least one spot available, I'm sure, if you're wanting to apply to join us. We have shifted this container to have specific enrollment periods. So at the time that you're listening to this, we are open for enrollment now, but we will not be open for enrollment for very much longer. And we won't open up enrollment again until the end of 2022. So this is your chance to get in now before we close enrollment for the rest of the year until the end of the year. And it is a 6-month minimum commitment. So if you join for 6 months, you get to come to our in-person retreat in Miami, and that's going to be in late September, early October. We will finalize the dates. They probably are already finalized by the time you're listening to this. But we would love to have you. This program includes private healing calls with a small mastermind group. It includes hot seat coaching calls with a maximum of 5 people per call. It includes, intimate access to me in Voxer. It includes one-on-one calls with me. It includes all sorts of amazing support and access to all of my programs, courses, memberships, everything while you are under contract. So it is my most high-touch container other than one-on-one coaching, and it's designed for female entrepreneurs who are making at least 6 figures and are ready to grow, expand, and quantum leap, all the things. So obviously I'm obsessed with this container. I love it. I hope you will feel called to join us, and if you are, you can do so by going to KristenKaczynski.com/expansion. Or you can just send me a DM on Instagram and we can chat more. I'm at Kristen Kaczynski.